Eat, save, and be merry with low prices and same-day delivery from Amazon Fresh. Whether you're looking for sweet deals on holiday treats or your dream gingerbread house, outshine the tree with holiday deals delivered right to your doorstep. Prime members save even more with deals on thousands of grocery items and up to 50% off on weekly favorites. Celebrate the holiday season with savings and same-day delivery from Amazon Fresh.
I'm Anna Garcia with True Crime News, the podcast. Every crime tells a story. Every story demands justice. True Crime News, the podcast, covers breaking crimes, investigating high-profile and under-the-radar cases. Every week, we dive beyond the headlines, exploring the effects of violent crimes on victims and search for justice. We hope you join us as your weekly source for true crime news. Listen to and follow True Crime News, the podcast, on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
You think I'm some dummy off the street? My era's everything. I cover all eras. My nickname, Mr. Era.
Jeff Lutz.
I've been around for 34 years. Longer than most people.
34 years to me is, that happened yesterday. Not in your lifetime.
There's no alternate history where that could have been achieved.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Friday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz, co-hosting. Max Bauer, producing, engineering. 869-1240, the IHOP hotline. Max Power will take your call. A couple deals that involved the National League Central. Fitting. We're going to have Bernie Miklasz on later in the show.
We are?
We sure are.
I'll let you handle that one.
What do you mean you'll let me handle that one?
Cardinals have done nothing. They're irrelevant in this. These winter meetings, nothing happened.
That's why I want to talk to Bernie.
So I got nothing for Bern.
Do you watch his videos on YouTube ever?
I do not.
Well, that's just awful of you.
I'm not a Cardinals fan. I don't even watch all the YouTube videos our people put up.
Nobody like Bernie.
Zach
join
Meisel's
us in
pretty
hour
darn
number
good.
2. What?
Zach Meisel's pretty darn good.
Does he do a daily video?
No, but he hosts a podcast with TJ Zuppe.
Bernie does that too with Will Leach. He also does this YouTube video. He also does daily hits on KMOX. He writes a column on an online forum called Scoops Network. The guy's
still
getting it done,
What's
my friend.
Will Leach up to these days? What's he talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Will Leach is a Cardinals fan.
I understand, but is that just
He does some work for MLB.com.
He's a good writer. I've always enjoyed his stuff.
Yeah. So, we got all that. Joe Jackson from Mays South will join us. We appreciate that. They play today, this evening, against their rival Mays. So we look forward to that. And then later in the hour number 2, Joanna Chadwick, at around 3:40 today, will join us to talk about some of the high school games. What are the better high school games in our area tonight?
She's coming on at the end of the show?
Friday 5.
She's not 3:25 today?
No, Bernie's 3:25.
Okay. Well, we had South and Heights girls, which I don't expect to be a great game, but South was a 15-game winner last year. They got to the sub-state final, lost to the same team that Heights lost to, Washburn Rural. You had Northwest Southeast boys. You have East Capen boys, McPherson Andover boys, and Mays South.
Okay. I can, not knowing what other games are out there, you probably ought to give me a ring before.
No. I do my homework. These are the games. And I wrote about
Northwest.
We'll see. I kind of want to see what Southeast has. They've got a guy averaging 19 and 15 through 2 games.
Well, that's good. Listen, I want the City League to be good, but Northwest looks for real. Like they look for real enough to be able to really push Heights.
Well, we'll see. Let's see him.
That's my early take. Do you understand
I don't
that?
disagree, but let's see him play.
Do you understand that?
What did I just say?
I'm not. Let's just wait I'm not that guy.
So you watch Northwest against North and say, "Oh, that's yeah."
No, they had another game
against South.
Against a decent team.
South isn't.
They're not great, but they're not.
South lost their best player.
I want to see what happens. But I think I know what's going to happen. I think Northwest is going to beat Heights at least once this season.
All right.
Write it down, man.
You just can't help yourself, can you? You can't just say, Northwest looks really good. They could get back to state and make some noise. This has got to be this specific
Because you know what people do when they hear that? When they're listening to the radio, you know what they do? Hey, let's get it over to KYN. Or
but you just can't
turn on General Hospital.
Help yourself.
I am not going to lose listeners.
Like, I have to take this a bit too far and damage my credibility.
Life is for no one ever to be listening to me on this show and flip the dial.
Okay, well, now that's happened several dozen times, is
that all in 9 years?
What's your new goal?
I can probably live with that.
Well, dozen is 12, and then several could be 100.
So 1,200 times.
Yeah, probably.
I don't want people to flip the dial. I almost have a.
They're flipping it right now because you're going nuts.
No, I'm not going nuts.
You're going down a dangerous
What's it called when you have a phobia? I have a phobia against that.
You're going to have to learn how to deal with it.
I sometimes have nightmares.
No, you don't. See, again, you just can't quite help yourself from taking it one step too far. Bob, now he's making stuff up. Now he's not telling us the truth. And we don't know what to believe.
There is a truth out there. There's a truth. But if you don't embellish on that truth, it's boring.
Not true.
If you just tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, I'm sorry, but I'm flipping that dial. If you tell the truth, but you kind of dramatize it a little bit and give it a little spice, and you know what I'm saying?
You lose your credibility. Exactly. You can make the truth entertaining.
I'm still telling the truth.
No, you're not. You don't have nightmares about whatever you said, and nothing rings true.
Why are you angry again today?
I'm not angry.
Every day, man.
It's because you just go a little too far. Just rein it in, man.
Do you want me to eliminate our 1st and 20 segment and go right into something else?
No.
Well, why? Because this seems to irritate you.
It seems you're irritated.
This is what 1st and 20 is.
I'm okay with being irritated, though.
What does 1st and 20 indicate to you?
You committed a 10-yard penalty.
We're looking at 20 yards. And unless we pull something out, unless we go above and beyond.
Unless you throw me the proverbial ball.
Okay, you got the ball. Go.
Nope.
Give us something entertaining.
No, I don't do that.
Give us something entertaining.
You know I don't do that.
Give us a topic, then.
I don't get put on the spot. You want a topic?
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of on the topic, but we were talking about the Friday Five, and I really tried to highlight the City League. The City League feels a little bit back. We talked for a few years about guys were leaving. Some of these teams.
Write about it.
I did.
You're doing exactly what I did. Don't embellish.
I'm not embellishing. East, Northwest.
Why does it feel back?
Because East, Northwest, and Heights all went to the 6A tournament last year. Capon won the 5A tournament. Dale Faber's back. Steve X is still in the mix. Southeast looks like they're a bit on the rise. It just feels like this is a league that is stronger than it's been in recent years.
Well,
Heights girls are dominant.
You can quantify that. Go for it.
Carroll girls still there. South girls. East girls are a little better. Just feel like it's back.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm not going there yet.
Why?
Much more grounded.
You went to Northwest beats Heights.
What do you think of Kyle Tucker to the Cubs for a year before he's a free agent? They gave up one of their very highly thought of prospects, a third baseman named Cam Smith.
Just got drafted.
Isaac Paredes. They gave him up, and they gave up a pitcher. Wisniewski, is that how you say his name?
I don't think there's a W in there. Wisniewski, I believe.
Whatever it is. Cam Smith's big-time guy.
Could be.
But the Cubs had to give him up to get, arguably, one of the 3 or 4 best players in the National League now.
Does this signify that Bregman and Bellinger go to the Yankees? And if so, what does that mean?
No, it doesn't signify that.
Kind of does to me.
Arenado's going to go to the Yankees.
He's not going to approve a trade there, and they don't want him.
You watch.
He's not going to
Wait
the
till
Yankees.
Bernie's on. I am so into the Cardinals.
But he's not going to the Yankees.
I predict he is.
You're going to be disappointed. Why do you want him? Or why do you want him to go there?
Get him out of the National League. I don't want him to cause trouble.
I think his trouble-causing days
Boston
are
is
over.
also very high on my list of potential landing spots for Arenado.
Where's he going to play
Into
there?
the Green Monster. They moved Devers to first.
They have
Trade
Tristan Casas at
him for
first.
pitching. I'm not the only one saying that. That's what a lot of people.
It just
are
seems like
saying.
there's a lot of steps you have to take to get
They gotta have
over
more
the hill
pitching.
Nolan Arenado in your lineup.
They've been talking to Seattle. It looks like there's a strong chance that they're going to acquire one of those Seattle pitchers, most likely Castillo. But we'll see.
We will see.
And Boston has to get better defensively. Rafael Devers is a great hitter, but not a good defensive player. And if you can lock up, if you get Arenado to play third base, that takes them a long way. Plus, you got the Green Monster, and he's a dead pull hitter. He'll be a much better hitter in
So how are
Boston.
you going to talk him into waiving his no trade clause for teams he said he won't waive his?
He'd go to Boston.
Was that one of the teams?
Sure, it was.
I'll have to check that.
Well, you don't have to check anything I say. Then the Brewers, another team that the Cardinals compete with, trade Devin Williams to the Yankees and get Nestor Cortez. I can see Nestor Cortez just starting 3 games this year against the Cardinals, pitching a total of 17 innings and allowing about a run.
Maybe. I think he's...
Cardinals can't hit guys like that.
Yeah, but I think he's about done in a sense, too. He wasn't...
Not that old.
Yeah, but he wasn't really on the playoff roster. He kind of was, and he
hurt.
wasn't. He was pitching. They didn't want to use him.
I don't think that's accurate, but I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think he was hurt.
I don't think you're. I think you've spoken out of line. Of course,
don't
they're going to
think so.
use Nestor Cortez.
No, they traded him. They were not. He got taken out of the rotation last year. Don't you remember when he was?
because he was
complaining?
hurt.
No, because he was he was not good.
No, he was hurt. But anyway, you asked me. You texted me. What are the Brewers doing? And I'm saying they're being smart.
Pitched 174 innings. I don't think
Right.
he was that hurt.
They know. They know they're not going to be able to sign Devin Williams. Now, the Cardinals look like they're going to hold on to their guys, their pitchers, Helsley and Fetty. I'm starting to come around to that idea because they might be worth even more at the trade deadline.
Perhaps.
Teams panic teams give up more at the trade deadline.
I don't know if that's true or not. There's a lot more teams involved in the bidding in the offseason, and prices can go up. But we'll see. I don't know. I'd like Eric Fetty on my team.
Well, what do you give us?
I don't know. I don't know what we have. What do you need?
Oh, we need just young guys. Outfielder preferably.
Petey Halpin will give you.
I don't want that. I've never heard of that guy.
They just put him on the 40, man.
I've never heard of him.
He's not very good.
So I don't want that guy. Just I'm not interested.
All right. That's fair.
No,
Jonathan Rodriguez?
I don't want him.
All right.
I don't think you got any good guys.
You do well with Jonathan Rodriguez.
Well, maybe we'll take him then.
He's a good player.
What did I watch? Oh, I watched Iowa State, Iowa last night. My dog needs to go outside, which I'll probably ask you to do when we
I'm
take
sure
a
you
break.
will.
It's fairly obvious that the kid is in need. But I wasn't planning to watch a lot of Iowa State, Iowa. But what a good game.
Wasn't it pretty high scoring?
It was a high-scoring game. Iowa State's fun to watch. Iowa just kind of fell apart. They had a big lead in that game and then couldn't score. But, man, I enjoyed watching that game. It just
it appeared to be a good game.
I didn't expect to get hooked into that one.
Not your typical, like, Iowa type of game.
No.
You don't think of them as a run-and-gun type team.
I was thankful for that because there weren't any other good games on last night. And we, of course, watched Matlock. And if you're not watching Matlock, you're missing the boat.
What do you think of Matlock?
What are we going to do now till January 30th?
I was surprised they didn't leave it on much of a cliffhanger.
Well, there's not a whole lot of cliffhanging they can do.
Sure there is. I just don't like the...
Every actor in that show's good.
I don't like
Kathy Bates is number one.
Alter identity of Kathy Bates. I don't like the sleuth side. I just don't like that part of the show.
Why?
Because I just don't like it. She's lying all the time. She's dishonest.
She's on a mission, man.
Deceptive. I don't like stuff like that.
If you'd had a, fictitiously, of course, a child who you thought had been killed because of attorneys representing the drug industry, you'd do whatever it took.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd do that.
You wouldn't lie?
I don't think I'd try to get in nice with the attorneys and then betray them. And
she's trying to find out. She's undercover. Have you ever heard of undercover?
Yeah, I don't like it.
You wouldn't be an undercover police officer.
I'm an overcover guy. I'll tell you what I'm...
You ever watch the FBI?
I'll tell you what I'm coming
shows
for.
Like that?
No, I don't watch the FBI.
Some of the best stuff is when they're undercover.
But I like overcover.
So you don't believe we should use undercover?
It's fine, but this isn't a police mission. This is a vigilante.
Undercover.
I don't like vigilante stuff.
Oh my God!
I'm not a vigilante
so you're
guy.
off of Matlock.
No, I'm not off of Matlock. I just don't like that part of the show.
That's the show.
I like the trials. I like when she's acting as an attorney. She's being friendly to people. Other people are being friendly to her, and then this other stuff is not for me.
But her relationships with these people, they're real.
I think her husband is an annoying character. I think her grandson's an annoying character.
Oh my gosh, love those people. Love them all. I can't believe it.
I'm a big Olympia guy. I like her.
I wish Duda was here I know what side he'd be on this.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are on that side. My wife among them. But that part of the show, I don't like. It irritates me.
Well, that's too bad. That's the show.
It's not going to be, though, season 2, right? They're not going to continue this forever.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do in season 2.
Either she's just going to be a lawyer or we got to be done with it.
That's why we love watching television. We're at the whim of the producers and the creators as to what happens.
This is true.
I'm sure Kathy Bates wouldn't be within a mile of this show if she didn't believe in it.
Did the original Matlock have like a secondary storyline like that?
No, heavens no.
It was just him being
procedural.
Being an attorney. That's all we need.
But we had understories and things like that. I didn't watch Matlock religiously. I watched it enough. I mean, you know
your
me.
boy Andy Griffith.
I'm a big Andy Griffith fan.
Figured you would have watched it religiously.
I didn't.
You weren't old enough. Maybe you should go back.
No, I was old enough.
No, it was kind of an old people show.
I was old enough. I watched old people's shows.
You did?
Sure.
In the 80s?
Name one.
I don't know. A lot of those shows were normal people shows. Now they seem like old people shows, like the Beverly Hillbillies.
I was out at night a lot back
Everybody
in that era. You understand?
Shows. I suppose. Dick Van Dyke, did you watch a lot of that?
Of course I did.
Growing up?
Of course I did.
He's funny.
Watched almost every episode. Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched. Bewitched was on in the mornings.
Why?
Well, they showed the reruns.
I Dream of Jeannie?
Pretty sure that's right. I Dream of Jeannie was on in the afternoons.
Reruns?
I think.
These are primetime shows.
I'd have to think about all that.
I'll think about it.
They showed reruns of them.
Right.
Syndicated reruns.
Was there syndication back then?
Sure there was. And just let me say this about Elizabeth Montgomery.
I don't think I believe you. All these soap operas go back to that era.
Look up when Bewitched aired.
Okay.
Sure, it was on in prime time, but it was also on in the mornings.
For what?
the syndicated Bewitched.
Syndicated? That's not syndicated. That's just reruns.
I think you're wrong.
You can't syndicate a show. The show it's continued to be in syndication, but I don't know.
Right. I do know. I was there.
See, but you sound like you're doubting yourself.
Not at all.
After completing its original run, so after the series was over, ABC Daytime and ABC Saturday Morning continued to air the series until 1973. So it wasn't like the next day or...
I watched it during the daytime.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, that's when. It was.
I don't care when.
Before 1973.
I don't need all the details. I just know I watched it.
Well, now you have some details, and you should feel better about it.
All right, time for a break. Again, Joe Jackson from May South will join us at 2:45. We'll come back and talk about the weekend ahead, some of the NFL, some of the college football, although there's not a lot other than Army-Navy, and some of the college basketball. Wichita State back in action tomorrow at noon, I believe, in Chicago to face DePaul.
That's correct.
Very interesting game, in my opinion. I'll tell you why after the break.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
The great Peter Frampton.
I don't know if he's great or not. I don't know, and I'm not familiar enough with his body of work. I know he put out a live album that circulated pretty well.
I know right now Max wants a piece of you so bad that he can't hardly stand
Did he do Ooh Baby, I Love Your Way?
Yes.
Yeah, he did some good songs. Checking my playlist, see how much I got of him.
You know, when the terrible tragedy of the Wichita State plane crash happened, they did a benefit show in Wichita. It was hosted, God, who's the guy? Monty Hall.
Really?
From Let's Make a Deal.
I've never heard this.
Hosted that show, and well, I'd have to go back and look at who performed. Look that up.
But
one of the performances was by the band Humble Pie, and Peter Frampton was the leader of that band before he took his career solo.
That's interesting. I've never heard that story before. How come I haven't?
Well, I don't know why you haven't.
Name some other Peter Frampton songs.
I'm not into that right now.
That I should know.
I'm not into that right now.
I've only got 4 Peter Frampton.
Look up the performance group for that benefit concert.
I don't think that's going to be out there.
I think Flip Wilson was part of that.
Well, that's going to take some time to look at that, but I'll do my best.
One of our callers would have a good idea.
Perhaps. But again, this is the first time in 9 years of the show that this has ever come up.
I don't think it is.
So
my dad and I went.
But I am looking it up. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And I've got a good way I can do that, but hold on. That was the year 1970, correct?
Yes. And I think the show happened in either later that year, but probably in 71. But I don't know. It almost, it's hard for me to remember who was there.
Yeah, the internet.
But it was star-studded. Quit complaining about my internet.
Well, it's not working.
Then get on my internet.
I am.
My internet is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't appear to be.
I've never had one issue with my internet.
Or is this website just down? What's going on?
You're the biggest. Get a phone that works.
A phone. Yeah, it's the phone that's not working. That's exactly it. But we're doing our best to find information out over here.
Well, I wish I could find that because it happened at Levitt Arena.
I'm working on it, okay? Just give me a little time. I will find out the information you want to be found out. It's just going to take a minute, and you need to give me a minute.
Here it is. It was a telethon hosted by Monty Hall. It included Bill Cosby, Mac Davis, Leif Erikson, Phil Ford, Mimi Himes, George Gobel, Humble Pie, Marilyn May, Minnie Pearl, The Young Americans, Lou Rawls, and Kate Smith. Now, can you believe that?
No, I can't, actually.
Why?
I don't know.
I just found it. You can stop your search.
Yeah, but I'm looking at other stuff now, too.
Isn't that amazing? This happened, on November 4th, so just more than a month later. No, that's when the Marshall plane crash happened. The telethon was broadcast on November 28, 1970.
That's interesting.
Night of Stars is it was called.
Here's talking about when they arrived. Airline flight number and estimated time of arrival of the performers coming in, so you could go stalk them. There's that.
I don't care about that. But for Monty Hall to be the host, Mac Davis at that time was as big as they get.
This was in November of 1970. You don't remember
Phil Ford, do you?
Yeah, like old coach at North Carolina.
No, you don't remember the Phil Ford who was an entertainer.
I'm sure they're the same guy.
George Gobel?
Yeah, of course.
I feel bad for younger people.
Because we don't know who George Gobel is.
Here's why I feel bad for you, and all of you who are younger. You don't have any reference to all this good stuff. Before you were glued to your phones like you are right now.
I'm trying to figure out more information about this event because it doesn't say anything about it being a benefit for the
and video
crash.
Games and everything that you did.
Oh, here it is.
It's just sad to me.
It was a benefit for Wichita State and
No, it wasn't
Marshall.
for Marshall.
Marshall
it was
University
being planned for Wichita State, and then they changed it up.
Okay, but Marshall University will share equally in funds collected from the show
Right.
and plans to use the money.
Change that up.
Okay,
They were doing it before the Marshall crash.
Yeah, because the crash in Marshall happened about 3 weeks later.
Right.
3.5 weeks later, which is
I'm
great.
just saying that it was amazing to see those performers here in town.
Well, yeah, it sure sounds
And I was
like
there, and I barely remember it. That's too bad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm getting unbelievable text messages right
You
now.
are?
Oh yeah, Adam Knapp, our friend, once wrote a story on this.
He did?
Interviewed Monty Hall.
That's amazing.
So anyway,
I should look for that story.
it's a good recollection. In the wake of a terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy. But Monty Hall.
I like it.
All right, what do you got? Put your phone down.
I'm looking up this
Nobody
stuff.
cares. We've covered it.
Yeah, but
Do it at home later.
No, of
Nobody
course.
cares.
No, I won't care later.
We've
I barely
handled it.
care now.
We've handled it. Chiefs and Cleveland. Everybody picked Cleveland to cover. We're going to pay for it. The Chiefs are going to do it this week, aren't they?
No.
I mean, I went 8 on Cleveland. You went 9.
No, I didn't. I went 4.
You went 4.
There's
Duda
no
went
such
8.
thing as 9.
Anthony went 8. Even Max, who can't stand the Chiefs, only went 2.
Yeah, I don't understand his picks sometimes. You think he'd be more convicted, but it doesn't always work out that way for whatever reason.
I feel like I wasn't on top of my game yesterday.
No, you
making
definitely
picks.
weren't.
What happened?
You didn't even know you still had your 8 left. And you had to go Cleveland for 8. Don't try to change it now.
I feel good. What do you mean don't try to
Looks
change
like you're
it
warming
now?
that pin up to make some alterations.
I might change it.
Well, do whatever you got to do.
Really?
No.
You'd let me change it.
What would you do?
I'd put my 8 on.
There's no really good 8
No,
games.
there's really no good 8 games. I guess Cleveland's not covering, though.
What if they do?
I've always felt like the Chiefs weren't going to cover.
Carolina
but I feel
covered. The Raiders covered. It's not like this is a good team thing that the Chiefs are running into. They don't cover against bad teams either.
Cleveland beat Pittsburgh.
I think Cleveland has an outside shot at winning this game.
I don't think that's the case. But we'll see.
If Jameis cannot be Jameis for
We've seen
one
better
game.
teams in Cleveland come close to beating the Chiefs.
We've seen worse teams. Probably not. The Raiders, though. Are the Raiders worse than
Carolina's
Cleveland?
gotten better.
I know. That's why I didn't say them. Are the Raiders worse than
the
Cleveland?
Raiders aren't horrible, except they have no quarterback.
They don't have much of a running game. They don't really have any receivers.
Why'd they get rid of Josh Jacobs? Because I'll never understand.
The same reason you're getting rid of Ryan Helsley, or would
We're not
like
getting
to,
rid of Ryan
or
Helsley.
would like to.
We're not. We don't even look like we'd like to.
You don't need him. You'd like to. You don't need him. They don't need Josh Jacobs, so they can, like Capper said, so they can go from 3 wins to 5. Like, what's the point? Just run out Amir Abdullah and see what you got.
We are all suckers for the NFL because if your team doesn't have a quarterback, you have no chance of winning. Back in the day, that wasn't necessarily the case. You could make up for it in other ways.
Unless you're the
to some
Steelers.
degree. But now you got no chance because the game is so predicated on passing and really dual quarterbacks.
Well, that's why there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there right now. There are a few teams that are just like hopeless for their quarterback situation. The Raiders don't have a quarterback
don't go there
situation.
yet. I'm going to tell you who's hopeless.
The Titans might be hopeless.
They're hopeless.
The Giants.
Will Levis, give me a break.
But there aren't that many teams that just do not have either a current or hopes for a future at quarterback. There's just not that many.
Well, the Jets.
Okay, but Aaron Rodgers.
New England, they're iffy.
No, Drake May, they believe.
I think they're iffy.
They really like Drake May, trust me.
I think they're iffy.
No, they're not.
Vegas.
That's one.
Pittsburgh. I think they're iffy.
They don't.
They got it. That's why I like Mike Tomlin.
Russell Wilson's
They're a
been
throwback
fine.
kind of team.
Russell Wilson has been fine for
They
them.
win with in ways that you used to win.
I just said that.
Cleveland,
Yes. There's 2.
Indianapolis.
No, they like Richardson.
They may like him. He's unproven.
There's a lot of unproven, but
Jacksonville's kind of back in that
but
boat.
they're not going.
Tennessee.
There's 3.
No, I think I'm
Just
right.
because you're saying team names does not mean that they're hopeless at quarterback.
Giants.
4. But we'll get one.
San Francisco.
No.
To some degree.
Brock Purdy's fine. They've had much bigger problems than quarterback this year.
Well, I don't know.
I do.
What about Minnesota?
What?
They have any? I mean, is this guy the guy?
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Michael Penix.
We'll see.
Not hopeless.
New Orleans?
Little hopeless.
Carolina?
No.
A lot of teams.
No, like 4.
I got 10.
No, you didn't. You just said teams.
No, I got 10.
Okay, the Patriots are hopeless at quarterback.
Fairly.
No, Drake May's good.
You're out of your mind, Bob. Drake May is going to be great. Wait till he gets some receivers.
I hope they break his ankles tomorrow.
I hope
Now Max
Myles
is weighed
Garrett
in.
breaks your quarterback's neck and stomps on him
Nobody
in
can
Cleveland.
even get to my quarterback.
He's protected.
His ankle's been a problem
He's
in the past.
protected. He's more
But I
protected
want
than
everybody
Gretzky.
to remain healthy.
All right, turn your mic off.
I don't wish for bad health.
I don't wish for bad health either,
No.
but I'm not sold on the Patriots.
Well, you don't have to be sold, but he's clearly good. And it's not like they're going after another quarterback this year. There's like 4 or 5 teams that will try to get a quarterback. And
No, they're not at a point where they need to go after.
go hard after a quarterback, right?
I get that.
There's like 4 teams or 5 that need a quarterback.
Drake May.
They're not giving up on him after 1 year.
11 touchdowns. No, I'm not saying give up on him.
So they're not hopeless.
11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Name one receiver for the Patriots.
Hunter Henry.
He's a tight end.
Is that a receiver?
No, that's a tight end. Name one wide receiver.
I don't think I can.
Right.
You want me to look?
Kendrick Bourne.
Don't they have a guy named Douglas?
Demario Douglas. Yes.
Let me look now.
I just told you.
Yeah, they're all right. They got Austin Hooper.
Another tight end.
Yeah, those are receivers.
No, they're tight ends, and they're not that good.
I don't like where New England is.
Based on what?
3-10. That's based on.
They have no players.
Well, get some players.
I think they're going to try. They don't have a coach either.
Here's Joe Jackson from Mays South. They have a home game tonight against their rivals, the Mays Eagles. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Bob, I'm doing well. Thanks for having us on. Hope everything's well with you guys as well.
Well, we appreciate that. You had a team last year that was loaded with talent and veteran leadership. Tell us about this team so far. It's a little bit different squad.
The squad, I'm really, I'm excited about this group. We graduated, at 9 seniors last year, 8 of which played significant minutes for us. We returned one guy really out of our top 8 rotation, who is a really good player. His name's Cy Stuckey, 6'7" junior kid. We went from last year being probably the biggest and strongest and most physical team that I've ever coached to now. I mean, we've got Cy, who possesses really good size, but we are pretty small and pretty young and just don't have a ton of varsity experience this year. So, we look a lot different on the court, but at the same time, it's exciting as a coach. There's going to be some years like that. We don't have a single senior on our roster this year. It's the first time in my career. I've been doing this quite a while now, and first time in my career we haven't had a senior on the roster. And we've only got 3 juniors, and we're playing a lot of sophomores. So we've got a really talented freshman class
grief.
as well. And so,
I don't think I realized.
Yeah, that's just one of those things. We had such a talented class a year ago, we've got some good kids that are seniors, in the school without a doubt, and it just, a lot of them, just basketball wasn't their thing, and that's part of it too. But we're playing a really young team this year, and I feel like we're probably going to take some lumps here early, like we did, the other night on Tuesday night at Andover Central. But man, there is a lot of potential there, and just having the opportunity to coach a bunch of young guys and try to mold them and get them playing the game the right way has been a lot of fun. And so it looks a lot different. It feels a little bit different than last year for sure, but we're having fun and we're showing growth.
Yeah, how does that change the way you coach? Obviously, not just it's a different group altogether, basically, but the style of play, I'm sure, has to be different. You have to develop these younger players that don't have the varsity experience. So how does that kind of force you to adjust the way you coach to fit the personnel?
Well, that's a great question, Jeff. We ultimately, I've always felt that great coaches are going to adapt to their strengths and to what fits their players. And so, I've never tried to be a coach who's just stuck in my ways that we are this type of system or we're this or we're that. We're going to try to always adapt to our strengths. And we definitely, our schemes look a lot different this year, especially defensively. I mean, we can't, we're not nearly as physical this year as what we were a year ago. So we've got to be a little bit, smarter and about our angles on closeouts and, the way we guard and making sure we're providing a lot more help on the ball and things of that nature. And ultimately, on the offensive end, that changes things a lot too when we go from having a team that had tremendous size. We played 2 bigs last year a lot, and this year we've really only got 1 big on the team, so I just feel like from a coaching standpoint, you've got to coaches that are doing in my mind, I guess coaches that are doing their job are going to adapt to their strengths, and that's what we're trying to do, every day.
Joe Jackson, our guest, the head boys basketball coach at Maize South. They have Maize at their place tonight. We had Chris Grill on the show yesterday. They've got a much more seasoned team than you guys do. So when you go into this game tonight, and it's such a big rivalry game, what's the message to your club?
Well, right now, it hasn't taken a lot to get our guys fired up, because I feel like, it's a lot of teams in the area know how much we graduated a year ago, and I've kind of used this with our guys too. But our guys feel like people are overlooking us, and that we're getting disrespected a little bit and everything because of our not having seniors and not really having a ton of size on the team, and so. I've kind of coached with a chip on my shoulder. I've tried to encourage our guys to play with a chip on their shoulder, and we shouldn't be bowing down to anybody, and just because we're young doesn't mean we can't, be in the mix and be fighting and competing in every single game. And so I think we're probably being overlooked by a lot of teams, and that it probably just comes with the territory when we graduate a group like we did a year ago. But again, we've got some really, really talented players, in our junior and sophomore class, and right now, we just need to grow physically a little bit, and we got to continue to get stronger, and even maturing mentally as well is going to be a big piece to that. But I feel like our goal, ultimately by the second time we play everybody this season, we want to compete in every game early on, but especially by the second time around, we need to be competitive with the best teams in our league and ultimately have a chance to make a run at state again, and so some people may think that's a little far-fetched or whatever, but we've got to dream big, and we're going to work like that's our goal every single day.
So last year in Emporia, I saw Cy Stuckey and his leadership qualities, and he's very much a football player who plays basketball, but I think that probably helped you. First, can you talk about what he brings to the table? And second, since he's kind of a guy that's, more in the post and does those things, is there a player on your team that you kind of want to season as that floor general type who handles the ball and gets everyone else involved? Do you think you have that player on your roster right now?
Mm-hmm. We do, and first to answer your first question, Cy he's just a tremendous leader. He got, his first start at state last year in the state tournament. We had our big kid, Tori Homan, our 6'7" kid who's playing at Fort Hays right now. Tori went down with an ACL late in the year last year, and so Cy had been, a big piece of for us a year ago as a sophomore, but he really played a great role for us and providing support to Tori and everything like that. But Cy has had a good of an off season as probably any kid I remember being around, in my entire coaching career. He has absolutely just lived in the weight room. He's transformed his body. He looked good as a sophomore last year. He looks even better right now. He's lived in the weight room. He's lived in the gym. He's been on our shooting gun. I can't even tell you he's on that thing all the time. He's always trying to get in the gym and everything. And he has had a really, really good off season. And then to answer your second question, we've got some, we've only got 3 juniors in the program, and no seniors. Our 3 juniors are, Cy Stuckey, Reese Pauley, and Tucker Lowe. And then we're playing a lot of sophomores, and the 2 sophomores that have been playing the one for us the most right now have been Paxton Scott and Jalen Batiste, and both of those guys are really talented sophomores. We're kind of building them up to be kind of a lead guard in the program. Marcus Cates right now comes off the bench as a backup guard for us. He's another one of those guys as well. We've got some other sophomores that are playing, major minutes for us here as well. Charlie Clinton starting for us. He's really kind of more of a guard, but he's an undersized 4 for us right now. He's having to guard a lot bigger kids, but Charlie does a great job on that. And then Stratton Ebers right now is coming off the bench, and he's another football kid that is just bringing an incredible effort and has been a tremendous asset for us as well. So that's basically our top 8 in the rotation right now, and we're definitely excited to for the future, and we want to hopefully go out and compete tonight and give ourselves a chance to win against a really good Maize team.
Final moments here with Joe Jackson, the head boys coach at Mays South. Now, I don't know you tremendously well, but I've been around you enough to know that, and seen your interactions enough to know that you seem to be pretty much universally liked, which I can't relate to in many ways, but I applaud you for that. So when you take on a rival like Mays and the coach over there, of course, Chris Grill, what's that rivalry mean to you? Do you get worked up at all? I know your players do. I know their players do. How do you handle it personally, Joe?
Well, number one, I guess we're going to try to win every game we're in, and so there's definitely no love lost between the Mays South and Mays rivalry. They don't like us very much. We don't like them very much. We respect everybody. I really outside of competition, Coach Grill and I get along really well. But when we're on the court, we're trying to beat each other's brains in. They're doing the same thing to us, and we're going to try to compete and do whatever we can do to win as well. And when I first took this job, you'd actually had me on the show. I think we even brought that up at that point. These are the type of games that you really look forward to. When I took this job here for going on 5 years ago now, this rivalry has just been nothing short of incredible. I mean, I'm sure we're going to have a great crowd tonight. The environment's going to be great. The gym's going to be rocking. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go lay it on the line and compete and do whatever we can do to come out with a win. And at the end of the night, we're going to shake their hand. And if we get beat, we're not going to like it. And if they get beat, they're not going to like it either. And that's just, one of those things. That's part of the rivalry. But I've got nothing but respect for Coach Grill and his kids have all been, tremendous as well, obviously having a lot of success at the college level and everything like that. It's one of those things. It's a lot of fun. It really is. This is, a big reason why we do what we do. It's a lot of fun to be a part of matchups like this tonight.
Always enjoy the conversations, Coach Jackson. Thanks for being on with us. Good luck tonight and the rest of the season, and have a Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you guys as well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, Joe Jackson from Mays South. We'll come back. We've got an hour left. I'm pulling Bernie Miklasz in, formerly of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, longtime St. Louis media member. We're going to talk Cardinals coming up at about 3:20, and I don't care.
Have fun.
I don't care who likes it.
I thought you didn't want to lose listeners.
Oh, they'll love it.
They will.
Yeah, I got Cardinals fans out there who listen to this show.
At least two. I don't know who the second
Chip
one is.
And, Brian Hargrove.
Oh, there you go.
Come on, guys. Listen in.
Rally.
We'll be back.